The Time Machine is a science fiction classic written by H.G. Wells that tells the story of an unnamed narrator who invents a machine capable of traveling through time and his journey to the distant future where he discovers a horrifying new world. The story begins in the narrator's own time, the late Victorian era. He is a wealthy man who has dedicated his life to scientific research. One night while working in his laboratory, he is visited by his friend, the editor. The two friends are discussing the recent death of the narrator's fiancée, and the editor tries to console him. However, the narrator is still deeply affected by her death and spends much of his time alone in his lab working on various inventions. One day, the narrator has a breakthrough with one of his inventions, a machine that he believes will be able to travel through time. He asks the editor to come back to his lab to see the results of his work. When the editor returns to the lab, he is shocked at what he sees. The narrator has created a strange-looking vehicle made of metal and wires that looks like nothing he has ever seen before. The narrator explains to the editor that this is a time machine, and he is going to use it to travel to the future. The editor is skeptical but agrees to let the narrator go ahead with his plan. With the time machine completed, the narrator decides to test it out for himself. He gets into the vehicle and turns it on. The machine begins to shake violently, and the lights start flashing. After a few moments, the shaking stops, and the lights turn off. The narrator steps out of the time machine and finds himself in a strange new world. The narrator soon realizes that he has traveled to the year 802-701 AD. He quickly notices that something is wrong with the people in this time period. They seem to be living in a state of constant happiness, and they don't appear to have any worries or problems. The narrator also notices that the people in this time period are very weak and frail. They can't seem to do anything without breaking a sweat. He soon learns that this is because the people of the future have been living in a state of total comfort for so long that they have become weak and dependent on technology. The narrator meets a group of these future humans, and they take him to their leader, a man named "We Must Endeavor to Comfort One Another." The narrator soon learns that this man is the leader of the Eloi, the dominant species in this future world. The Eloi are a race of weak, frail, and childlike people who live in a state of total comfort. They spend their days eating, drinking, and having sex, and their nights sleeping and dreaming. They don't do any work or have any responsibilities. The only thing they have to worry about is making sure they stay comfortable. The narrator soon becomes friends with one of the Eloi, a young woman named Weena. He begins to enjoy the comfortable lifestyle of the Eloi and forgets about his original mission to explore the future. However, one day he decides to venture out into the forest, and he soon discovers something that makes him regret ever coming to this time period. As the narrator is exploring the forest, he comes across a strange sight, a group of ugly, hairy creatures living in caves and eating raw meat. These creatures are called the Morlocks, and they are the underclass of this future world. The Morlocks are the ones who do all the work in this society, but they never get to enjoy any of the fruits of their labor. All the food they grow and all the technology they develop is taken by the Eloi, who do nothing. The narrator realizes that this is not a sustainable way to live and that this society is doomed to eventually collapse. The narrator goes back to the Eloi and tries to warn them about the Morlocks, but they refuse to believe him. They think he's just making up stories to scare them. The narrator is disgusted by the Eloi and their inability to face reality. He breaks up with Weena and decides to go back to his own time. The narrator gets back into his time machine and travels back to the late Victorian era. When he arrives, he is shaken by how much his journey has changed him. He realizes that the future is not a place to be desired and that the past is not a place to escape to. He decides to make the best of the present moment and live his life to the fullest. In the aftermath of his journey, the narrator becomes a changed man. He no longer wastes his time on meaningless pursuits and instead dedicates himself to making the most of the present moment. He uses his wealth and intelligence to help others and make a positive impact on the world. He also becomes more aware of the dangers of unchecked technological advancement and the importance of balancing progress with human values. Throughout the novel, the narrator serves as a reminder that the future is not set in stone and that the choices we make today will shape the world of tomorrow. His journey to the future is a warning of the dangers of unchecked technological advancement and the importance of balancing progress with human values. Ultimately, the narrator's story is a powerful testament to the importance of living in the present moment and making the most of the time we have. H.G. Wells was a visionary writer who is considered to be one of the fathers of science fiction. His novels often explored the potential consequences of scientific and technological advancements and their impact on humanity. In The Time Machine, Wells paints a bleak picture of a future world that is divided into two classes, the Eloi and the Morlocks. The Eloi are a race of weak, frail, and childlike people who live in a state of total comfort, while the Morlocks are an underclass of ugly, hairy creatures who do all the work but never get to enjoy its fruits. This stark division between the two species highlights the dangers of unchecked technological advancement and the importance of ensuring that the benefits of progress are shared by all members of society. Wells's message is a timeless one that remains relevant even today. As we continue to grapple with the ethical implications of artificial intelligence, genetic engineering, and other cutting-edge technologies, it is important to remember the lessons of the past and ensure that we are using technology to create a better future for all humanity. Now, let's talk about some interesting facts about The Time Machine. The Time Machine was first published in 1895. It was an instant success and has never been out of print since. The book has been adapted for film, television, and radio numerous times. One of the most famous adaptations is the 1960 film version directed by David Lean. The Time Machine is considered to be one of the foundational texts of science fiction literature. It introduced many of the tropes and themes that have become staples of the genre, such as time travel, dystopian futures, and the potential dangers of scientific advancement. The character of the time traveler is one of the most iconic in science fiction literature. His journey to the future and his encounter with the Eloi and the Morlocks have inspired countless works of science fiction since. The Time Machine is a cautionary tale about the potential dangers of unchecked technological advancement. It is a reminder that progress is not always a good thing, and that we must be careful to consider the potential consequences of our actions. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and subscribe for more science videos. Thank you for watching.